Welcome to today's webinar on Advisor TV Advisor Radio. It's brought to you today by the Agents Advisor, empowering independent insurance agents, and MedPlan Network, your medical insurance partner. My name is Joe Morris, Chairman and CEO of the Agents Advisor. I'm with today's host, Jeff Roach, our Director of Financial Planning at the Agents Advisor. Welcome, Jeff. We got a good day today with our new Wealth Health Wednesday, our weekly financial planning webinar we do each week. Welcome to today.
Thank you so much, Joe. As Joe mentioned, my name is Jeff Roach. I am the Director of Financial Planning at the Agents Advisor, and I'm going to be hosting today's Wealth Health Wednesdays webinar. We have a really great solution to discuss today that's been extremely successful. I've actually used it in the past, and it works for new agents, it works for moderately experienced agents, and it works for a very, very experienced agent, and it's called the Life Audit Program. If you look at our webpage, if we go to home, scroll down here, and we can see under the agency marketing, professional designations, most of you that have visited the website before have noticed all these different sites that we have, pre-licensing, training, agents and seminars and such. But today we're going to go back to products and services. And products and services is where the financial planning section occurs, as we can see there. And I'm going to click on financial planning so that you can see one of our guest speakers today is Steve Sangeorzan, who is with Ash Brokerage. He's been with them several years. I'll let him explain some of his background. But there on the left is my picture, Jeff Roach, and in the middle is Steve Sangeorzan. So at least you have a familiarity with who we are and what we look like. And there's our phone numbers and contact information.
Yeah, I think I'm the best looking one there. Hey, my name is Steve Sangeorzan. I'm a Regional Vice President with Ash Brokerage, and I very much look forward in supporting the Agents Advisor in the coming weeks, months, and years. Been working with Joe and Jeff for the past 5-6 months putting this together, and we're really excited about this partnership and in supporting them. A little bit about my background. I've been with Ash Brokerage for 16 years, building relationships with agents, financial planners, property casualty producers, individual health producers. And our goal has always been is try to put an impact on your practice and put an impact on your clients. One of the things Jeff's going to talk about today and myself is the life audit. And I just want to share a couple things with you over the years. Typically, when I'm out in the field, I get phone calls from agents and they go, Steve, what's working out there in the field? What's the hot thing that's always been, help me in my practice? And about 10 years ago, Ash Brokerage developed the life audit process. It's an independent review. It's an objective analysis of one's life insurance policies. And I tell the agent that the life audit is probably one of the best marketing tools, the best service that you can provide your clients in your practice, and a great way, a track to run on. Typically, the life audit will provide you with opening the door for future life insurance sales. Just to give you an idea, last year, Ash Brokerage did over 6,000 life audits, and out of those reviews, when we did the analysis, almost 7 out of every 10 we can show some kind of improvement back to the client in that process. The goal is typically, as I was talking to Jeff today, is to look at the audit two ways. One is, can we save the client money in seeing how it's performing and seeing if we could provide a better policy for them in the future. It's typically, I want to emphasize one thing here. It's not a replacement tool. It's just for you want to go in the door and be able to look at this as a service.
Okay. To show you some of the other folks that Steve works with, Steve Shankerman is the annuity individual we will be working with here at the Agents Advisor. John works with Steve. Matt will be our long-term care person, and then Kelly will help us with the DI. Back to the life audit. Like I said, I've actually done some life audits in the past and had some great success. And you're not going to bat 1,000. You're not going to, every single time you do a life audit, is there going to be an improvement. But as Steve was saying, somewhere between 6 and 7 out of every 10, we're going to show the client that, hey, this policy is working okay, this one's not working okay, you might need to just modify your premiums a little bit. But 3 or 4 times out of 10, the policies are so far, behind that there is going to be a suggestion of, hey, you might want to do something completely different. And of course, that's where you come into play, and that's where we might be able to help them get a new policy put in force. But I have a question. How many of you out there have really struggled with that, opening up that life insurance conversation with your clients and or future clients? Because, let's face it, it's not a real easy conversation to have. And so as Steve mentioned earlier, the Life Insurance Audit is a consultative, solutions-based approach, and that's what we're all about here at the Agents Advisor, is consistent, reliable solutions. And you go in with a non-threatening, consultative approach, and I can tell you from my own experience that people will sit and listen to you. If you just go in direct and start talking about life insurance, all of a sudden they say, oh, I got to take a call. A business owner says, oh, I got to go talk to an employee or whatever. So it's a very nice, indirect, kind of a soft approach to open up that life insurance conversation.
Just some, why we do the audit. A lot of the policies written in the 90s and early 2000s have been underperforming. A lot were showing high illustration rates of 9, 10, 11%. Also, you had companies that were rating policies based on health. It could have been a smoker, and they could just be smoking a cigar. Now today, they're smoking a cigar, they can get non-smoker rates. So there's a lot of changes as far as that going, and then also there's more classifications. Back, policies written in the 90s and early 2000s, even the 80s, there was basically, right, Jeff, probably standard, non-smoker, probably not even
maybe 4 classifications.
Four classification. As you know, there's probably 7 or 8 classifications. We will do basically any size type life audit. It's a pretty simple process that you can do. I kind of just slightly glide over it, but the process is on the website and the forms and everything that you can take a look at. But basically, we have a form, and all the client has to do is get a signed in-force authorization from the client, and then with the policy number on there, and it's sent to our team up in Fort Wayne. You work through Jeff on that. And then what they'll do is they'll contact the company and get a current in-force illustration and see how the policy is performing. Is it going to run out to age 75? Is it going to lapse at age 90, 85, or whatever? So, and also we will also look at the financial standing of the company. So those are 2 important factors that we look at. And then the audit then from there, typically we will show that if there's a large amount of 1035 money that can go over into the policy, we can show a way to either to reduce the premium and save the client money. He can put more money back in his pocket. The other alternative is, let's say he's got a $500,000 policy and he's paying $3,000 a year for that policy, and so now we're saying, hey, his estate's grown, he has more need for life insurance, so we'll show an alternative where he can, maybe paying that $3,000 with his 1035 money, give him now a policy for $750,000 of death benefits. So there's a lot of different options we look at. Also, we look at too if the beneficiaries have changed, people's lives change all the time over the years. There could have been a divorce. There could have been it could be in a trust that it needs to be looked at and see how that's performing. So that's kind of the outline. Jeff?
Yeah, I would say that the beneficiary designation is something that all of us should consider on a regular basis, especially for, if you're doing a P&C review for your clients, if you're in the property and casualty business, you're kind of already doing a review anyway. So why not bring up the whole life insurance audit review? Because if we can show them how to save money on their premiums, or how to get more coverage for their same dollars, or how to possibly even stop premiums altogether, then of course that's going to help them pay for their property and casualty insurance, pay for a liability policy, pay for increased health insurance, and you kind of come in as the insurance hero because you found a solution for them that didn't really cost them a whole lot of money out of pocket. So back to the forms that Steve was mentioning. I won't go into all of these, but the Advisor Guide to Life Audit, that has about 12 or 13 pages on it, so we won't go through this in great detail. but it gives you a chance to just read through what the audit is about and how it works. Steve has elaborated on how it works. But as far as that goes, I'm going to go back to, whoops, I think I may have just lost it.
Why? I can cut it.
Right there. All right. So I apologize.
While he's bringing that back up, I just want to share with you just a couple quick stories on success stories on the audit. It can be any size type policies. A case that we recently did is the client was paying $1,200 a year, and he had $15,000 of cash value in there, and so we were able to take that cash value and then reduce his premium to $600 a year, and then give him a guaranteed death benefit to age 100. Last year I had another. I'm going to give you the extremes. Last year I had a case. Last year we did. I'm not going to mention the company, but we did the audit for this agent, and we found out that we could use an index life product that could perform better for the client, and it had close to $1 million of 1035 money in the policy. So we were able to 1035 that policy over. We increased his death benefit from $5 million to $7 million, and also reduced his premium in the policy. The target on that was $180,000.
Wow.
Plus what he made on the excess premium. So what I'm saying, those are the big cases, but we also look at the small cases. They all add up. That's the process of the audit. That gets the conversation going with the clients. Like I said earlier, it's one of the most simplest tracks to run on. We give you there's a sample in there on the quick links of what the audit looks like for the client. There's two types in there. I won't go into the detail of both, but anyways, we have a simplified and then a more in-depth one. But you'll see how, and it's all objective. There's all objective information in there. It's just about how the policy performs. You can take that out to the client, go through that all with him, and then we'll show different options. And we also have some life expectancy information in there for the client. So one of the easiest things you can do, and we're going to do all the back office and the support for you with Jeff's help and myself and our team at Ash Brokerage.
So going back to comparing the policies, if a person has one individual policy, that's going to be a fairly simple life audit. I talked to Larry up in the Ash office yesterday, and he said the turnaround time is usually somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks. So, when you do talk to a client, don't let them think that you're going to have an answer in 2 or 3 days, because the in-force ledgers do take time. Some companies respond within 3 or 4 days. Some companies respond within 2 or 3 weeks. On the extreme end, probably what, Steve? A month and a half. But on the absolute best end, probably 2 weeks.
It depends on how quick the carrier gets back the information to us.
So as we mentioned, we compare those different policies, give you some alternatives, alternative 1, alternative 2, and alternative 3. And I think that's pretty common, isn't it? Having 2 or 3 different alternatives that you can go out and represent some options to your client or future client. We don't like to call them prospects because we think that everybody with life audit especially can be a future client. All right, and then the carrier-specific in-force ledger forms. There are both in-force ledger forms and carrier-specific. Basically, that's saying that you're giving them the authorization to proceed and getting those in-force ledgers for you. Some companies have their own forms, and some companies will not respond directly to us. They will send that information to you, and we'll get into that a little bit later. The fact finder there just discusses what your role is, what the advisor's role, or excuse me, the client, the advisor, and then what Ash Brokerage and the agent's advisor is going to help you do. And as Steve mentioned earlier, approximately 35 to 40% of those you will be able to significantly improve, and then about 70% of those there's going to be some recommendation. So overall, I think that if we look at the life audit sample, which we just did, the consumer guide to life audit, if you want to print something out and give it to them, because most folks have never even heard of it before, And so it's a nice giveaway piece. It's only a couple pages, so it's not going to take them a long time to read it. And it just kind of explains what we're going to do for them.
We just share with you too. We have like a lighter version of the audit. If you can just send in a current statement of their policy, okay, like a billing or whatever, their current statement, we can do a quick turnaround, do a quick comparison on that policy, probably within 3 to 4 days if we get a copy of that statement. So we can do audits either way for you. And like I said earlier, the approach here is this is elevating you in front of your client. It's building a stronger relationship, and it's just adding another. You're providing another service to your client and building that relationship with him.
And the last tab would be the Business Owner Guide to Life Insurance for all of you that work with business owners. Most of us do at some point have some clients in that market. So typically we have found that business owners will have multiple policies. They bought a policy when they got married. They bought a policy when they had their first child, when they started their business, when they expanded their business, when they brought on partners. So business buy-sell agreements, just overhead expense planning and so forth. So business owners are a great market. Farmers are a great market. But anybody, I don't care if they work for a major company, anybody really is a good market to talk to, because most people do have some form of life insurance in place.
If I might add, what we have found too, for our agents that are in the Medicare market, they do Medicare planning and so forth, a number of these seniors in their dresser drawer or in a shoebox, they've got these old policies they bought years ago. Cash is built up in them. Even if you're a Medicare agent, isn't this a great tool and resource, Jeff, Steve?
I agree. Yes. Yeah. Medicare, because you're going to be dealing a lot with 65 and plus. So some of those folks have had policies from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and some of those, even the older whole life policies, some of them have reduced their dividends, and they're not performing quite like they had anticipated. But overall, in summary, it's really a win-win-win situation, because you go in as a consultant, you go in as an advisor versus just another person out there trying to sell them another policy. They win because they really get an updated analysis of where all their policies stand. And some of them, like I said earlier, probably will be just fine. And then, of course, if you are able to help them, place some new business, you win again, because, we're all in this business to make a little bit of money. But this is a nice indirect way and a nice consultative way to do it. So how to get started? I'm going to go ahead and pass that back over to Joe as far as getting appointed. We've got to get at least some general information on you first through the agent's advisor before we can head on up to getting you appointed to offer the life insurance audit.
Joe brought up a great sales idea too with that. Typically, like Joe mentioned, some of your older clients might have 3 or 4 policies sitting in the drawer. They might have all cash value into those policies. So typically, you could take those cash values in those policies and look at maybe buying a long-term care policy or buying a linked benefit type product.
Good point.
Doing a single premium type product, and they can still get life insurance. These products have life insurance and also a long-term care benefit, both in that. So great. That's a great comment to make, Joe.
Well, and with the life audit program, the foundational idea behind it is it's finding a solution to their current situation. So when we do the life audits, these other opportunities for the client and for the agent and advisor will show that, right?
Exactly.
And so for our agents and advisors listening today, this is not just a single play. This is a wider play to say, look, when we do this life audit, we're going to help them find a true solution in today's terms based upon a decision they made years past, right?
Yes, I agree, because I do work a lot with the 60 and older market. Having that opportunity to go from a life insurance policy that was what they needed, as their kids were growing up and going through college, all of a sudden now their need has possibly changed, and they're concerned about long-term care and what happens if I have to receive care at home or an assisted living facility or a nursing home, and can I convert this policy that I've got now into something with a long-term care benefit to it, as Steve mentioned earlier. So I agree with Joe and Steve. It's an eye opener. It creates multiple opportunities for you, not just a life insurance policy for a life insurance policy, but other avenues as well.
So that, for those listening and watching today, this training is an on-demand training. You can always find this on Advisor TV on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. It'll be on Advisor Radio. I always want to ask our guests, because we really appreciate them being here. Jeff and I can't emphasize how awesome this opportunity is for you and for us to have the backroom support and the consistent, reliable solutions that we're building and putting together for you and our partner in Ash Brokerage. So I always ask certain questions because I want anybody watching or listening to know that when we put this together, our goal is truly to empower the independent insurance agent. And it's really to be an agency builder. That we're not pushing products, we're not pushing comp grids. What we're pushing is solutions, right? So I always ask certain questions. So if you don't mind, Steve, I'd like to ask you a few questions, get your feedback on
Sure.
it, okay? So in your years of experience, you've been doing this a long time. You've been, excuse me, in a number of offices. What do you think agents, advisors need from their IMO, FMO like us?
I think, number one, resources. I think it's very important, resources in their practice. Also, listening and talking to Joe and your team here, I think what you developed here on your website, as far as staying ahead in the marketplace, I think is so important. And I think it's also important, and I think, Joe, I think you understand this too, is still the number one thing is building relationships and getting to know what's important in the agent's practice.
Yeah, so when we work with them, we want to take a look at how they conduct business, what's their core business, and how can they leverage that in terms of relationships, and then how can we put together a strategy to drive more client relationships and kind of build that persistency that they need. Because once you have one or two or three policies with a client, they're with you for a longer time than if you just had one product, right?
Exactly.
So the one trick pony program, while it works for a lot of agents, it's really not the solution in terms of agency building and agency growth, right?
That's right.
So when it comes to field support, what do you think is important for an agent or advisor?
I think when they pick up the phone and call us or call you, we want to be consultative. We want to be able to learn about their client, turn around, find solutions for them, and then work with them all the way through the process, all the way from taking that idea or that solution out to the client, all the way to the application process and getting the policy issued to take care of the client all the way through.
Yeah, I agree. I think field underwriting, pre-screens, case development, all that is very important. So as far as case development, how important is case development?
It's probably one of the most important things in your practice because you're trying to provide a solution to your client, and you got to think of some way. Sometimes you got to think outside of the box in order to provide the best solution for the client.
Yeah, I agree. So now that you know us, you know our network of agents, and you know what we're putting together, what do you see as the value proposition with the agent's advisor for their agents and advisors?
I've seen other marketing companies, but I think you are turnkey with what you've done on your website. The things you open up your website. There's contracting, there's sales ideas, there's training. There's all the tools to help to be successful in your practice. Then also, the other thing obviously we're providing is we have RVPs across the country. We can actually help support your field, your operation here, going out to the offices, whatever we need to help support you. But turnkey, it's the best I've seen as far as a website for agents and advisors, as far as everything's there, and you open up licensing, training, agent seminars, agent marketing, advanced markets, agent succession, professional, your CE, everything's there. It's one stop. One stop as far as finding your answers and solutions or whatever your needs are, because everybody everybody's practice is different. Everybody has different needs, and your website and your back office supports those different needs.
Well, I appreciate
on the
you
health
saying
and the
that,
life.
because having done this for 26 years, and I've been on the wholesale side, the marketing side, the carrier side, and the brokerage side, right, and sales, and then with Jeff, his 30 years in financial planning, and this side, bringing your team in with us to help us on the backroom support. Of course, what we've done with the website to make it user friendly, I just felt like it was important that we could help agents get in the business, thrive in the business, and retire out of the business. So everything in between, there's a lot of moving parts, right? But at the end of the day, how can you make a living being an entrepreneur and grow your practice? So that's the whole gist of it all. So like on our resources tab that you're seeing there, it's the who's who and what we do, and we keep adding to that weekly. If you go back to the home page, and you'll see what we've got, like you mentioned before, you look at just that basic side of it on the intro, but when you get into products and services, and you go back into products and services, what you're going to find here is on the agentsadvisor.com, there you're going to see on this page the senior solutions, the under 65 health, the financial planning, the group benefits, and that's why Ash Brokerage is so important to us, because you can't just do this and not have great backroom support. One of the things we're doing at the Agent's Advisor is we're not leaving our partners behind the curtain. We've opened the curtain up so you can see what helps power this, which will ultimately power you growing into this business, right? So we want you to go to theagentsadvisor.com. We want to get you started. We've got a lot of great tools there. You see our products. As we're building that out, just know that each week our IT team keeps adding those links, and we'll open up to new things, better things, and it's going to keep getting better. But in the meantime, get familiar with us. Go ahead and get started, get linked to us. We'll get you contracted, set up in our system, which ultimately will automatically set you up on the Ash side. It'll set you up on our other partner side. We'll send you an email with setup instructions, connect forms, and connect forms are simply how do you get linked to us, how do you get access to all these tools and services. We'll activate you, then you're ready to start quoting, doing case development, and placing more business. We always ask you to attend our webinars. If you can't attend them live, no problem. We have this Advisor TV channel for on-demand training, so you can do it at any time. Just subscribe to our channel. We'll send that to you as well, and you'll find it on our website. If you go to our home page on our website, what you'll see at the top right-hand side, you'll see, if you just click on that button, that will take you right to Advisor TV. And when you go to Advisor TV, this is our on-demand training channel. Over off to the right, you just click on that subscribe button. Once you subscribe, then you put in your information. You'll get an update every time we update a video or a training session. Going back to our home page, you'll also see that we've got also all the other social medias like the Facebooks, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. Like us on Facebook, connect with us on Instagram, connect with us on LinkedIn. We put the same content out on social media, so you'll always have connections to us and what we're doing. Lastly, we want you to work with Jeff. We'll have Jeff's contact information. He'll give that to you today. And by working with us, we're going to discuss with you how we can help you grow your business. We'll send you more information. We'll help you migrate to us and get you set up to where you're now going in 2019 and the years to come prepared to succeed in growing your business.
Yeah. Just
Jeff,
let me add though, like behind that website for you and the support we have 350 employees that's going to support the agent advisor.
That's powerful.
Working for that
Regional
will be there
vice
for you.
president, regional vice
Life
presidents all
insurance,
over the country.
long-term care, disability, and annuities. So very consultative.
You know, when I first started working with Ash Brokerage in the early 90s, I think you had 40 employees maybe, and now they're up to 350. They've grown substantially because there is a big demand for what they do. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and respect your time. And our contact information, again, is Jeff Roach, Director of Financial Planning at 877-886-4829 or my direct line. I always carry my cell phone with me. It's 590-2240, area code 317. So contact me or Joe, and then we will, of course, lead you on to which person we might need to talk to, at ASH, whether it be life, long-term care, disability, or annuities. So next week we're going to do Wealth Health Wednesdays again at 1 o'clock. They do have a national meeting next week, so we're trying to get the annuity individual, Steve Sangeorzan, on the phone with us. But we're gonna discuss annuities one way or the other next week.
Well, if that's it, we want to thank you for visiting with us today. If you're looking to grow your insurance business, just give us a call, shoot us an email, or visit us on the web, and stay tuned for more great training, content, and information. As always, we appreciate you, and we want you to make it a great day.